Welcome back to season 1 of Snubs and Dubs. We're talking the Snubs and Dubs of the 69th Academy Award for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasson, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm co-hosting today, Kyle. How about you? How you doing?
I also am co-hosting today.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm glad we both had that in our schedule at the same time. That'd be might be unfortunate if that was offset by even a minute.
Yeah. Did you watch anything this week?
No, I didn't get to really have a chance to watch anything this week. I've been living a bleak, meaningless, artless life filled with no entertainment or media. How about you, Kyle? What have you done?
Well, I think I made up for the both of us thing.
Thank God.
I've been watching some stuff. So after our episode on Friday, our recording, I went and saw Spencer, which is the new Kristen Stewart's Princess Diana vehicle sort of thing, and it was good.
Oh, wow. I've never even heard of that.
No?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I love Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, she was great in it, and she's getting a lot of hype and a lot of praise, and so I was eager to see, and she deserves the hype and the praise. The movie overall was fine. It's good.
Oh, that's cool.
Is it going to reach high acclaim? I don't think it's a claim that's going to reach past Kristen Stewart, but yeah. And it's kind of funny because I didn't realize this until afterwards, but when I was watching Secrets and Lies, one of the actors, Timothy Spall, is also in Spencer. And so I had a little double dose of Timothy Spall this weekend.
Bit of a Spall week, Kate.
Yeah.
You kind of spalled out.
And then I watched two 1996 movies on top of Secrets and Lies we're talking about today. I watched Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think, an easily forgettable of that kind of Disney animated period.
Yeah, it really has no relevance today.
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone can identify what he looks like and could quickly, if they had to, draw him from memory. It wouldn't be perfect, but none of the events in that movie have stuck with me. I just know what the style and what the Hunchback looked like, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, and even like the Hunchback, I forgot kind of how ugly his face was.
Oh,
which
is it
like
Gizmodo?
They
is
really,
that his name?
Osimodo.
I was close enough.
Yeah. It's good. I was forgetting it while I was watching it, so
actively one in, one out for the entire movie. But I'm sure it's a fine Disney cartoon.
Yeah, it's totally fine. And I also watched. I was texting you about this, but I watched Beautiful Girls.
I am so interested.
Oh man,
because you gave me a little snippet that it had some problems with it.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a bro comedy, which is a weird thing because you think Beautiful Girls, you're like, oh, maybe this is some sort of like women empowerment type of thing. No, it's about these 27-year-old guys who are meeting back in their hometown for their high school reunion.
Oh no.
And it's about their kind of relationships with like women, and there is a weird relationship between a 13-year-old Natalie Portman.
No, please say 14-year-old.
And a 27-year-old.
Damn it.
Literally the weirdest thing. It's like, it references that it's a bad thing. And the characters in the movie tell the main character who is having this weird relationship with a 13-year-old girl who also has a actual girlfriend who is a lawyer in like back in New York or whatever, that, this is wrong. But yet Natalie Portman's character, actively wants this. She's like, please wait for me. Wait 5 years until I'm 18. And he is actively considering this because he thinks that she's like beautiful and is going to be something amazing.
Was Hollywood entirely a mistake? Was this a Weinstein production?
Yes, it was. It was.
Knew it.
I was actually going to say, if you didn't mention that, I was like, it's no surprise that this was a Weinstein
That is
production.
the blueprint. Oh my God.
So yeah.
Unbelievable
and
filth.
Like, it's a romantic comedy. I don't think I really laughed once. I laughed at the absurdity to what was happening with this 13-year-old girl in this relationship. And also, these guys are just like assholes. It's not like, it was a total contrast to Swingers, which was like a nice, fun bro comedy. They support each other.
Friends are friends.
Yeah. These guys were total assholes to each other. Were like really pathetic with like their ex-girlfriends and just like moving on and trying to make them jealous, even though they were in the wrong, and like cheating and all this sort of stuff. And like, I think it's trying to paint them in a positive light, but also they're just gross people.
But they're just so like innately toxic that they can't even spin it right.
Yeah, no. And it has like a mostly positive review score. I think if that was to exist, like be a movie that existed now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh God, no. And Ooh, it is funny that Natalie, funny this is a stretch of the word funny,
Yeah.
but Natalie Portman is 13 in this relationship because it just made me think of Star Wars and how she like, she met Anakin when he was like a little kid and then started dating him. I don't know why that came through, but Natalie Portman, you need to work on.
I mean, at least she waited.
She did wait, which is kind of worse.
And it wasn't like she was actively going to wanting to date him when he was a child.
No.
But still kind of weird. But yeah, anyways. And then I rewatched Eternals, as I kind of alluded to last episode. My opinion hasn't really changed. It may have softened a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fine. I don't think it's like horrible and people are like, oh, it's the worst Marvel movie ever. Yeah, but they're all pretty good. And so like this one by comparison is bad, but it's
there's still
fine.
like a baseline of it's a good accessible family movie. I'm not going to say that for this one because I don't know necessarily if it's like a fully like a family kind of flick where kids could watch. I'm assuming it is.
I think so. Like I mean, unless you're kind of, the only way I can think it's not a family flick is if you're like insanely religious and against gay people.
Yeah.
Which, and then there's like relationships like that. But like, then you're just a bad person. Anyway,
exactly.
So like,
you got bigger problems at that point. Yeah. It seems like even though it's not the best Marvel movie, their formula is so locked in that they can kind of make anything and it's going to be fine. Even if it's not amazing, everyone can get a little bit of something from it. Even if they don't love it, it'll be fine.
You're right there. Yeah.
Although I'm not going to watch it.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
I was never like a big superhero movie. Like a couple of them I really enjoyed, like Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Dug that.
Yeah.
Occasionally, we watched that a lot in theaters. A disgusting amount. I had to take out a mortgage to watch that in theaters. But this one sounds like maybe I'm going to skip it.
It's a pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
And last thing I watched, I went last night to see Kenneth Branagh's Belfast.
Oh.
Which is, people are saying it's like the current Best Picture frontrunner. If that's the case, very boring year for Best Picture because it's a good movie. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but if that's the frontrunner, then you haven't seen better movies yet.
Yeah,
or like I think Coda's still a better movie, and I think Dune is even a better movie, even though it's kind of like half of the book. But like it's got good performances and it's an interesting story. It's like autobiographical to Kenneth Branagh in a way. Like obviously there's like that kind of connection, but like if it wins, I would be kind of disappointed. Yeah,
that wouldn't be a great sign for the rest of the year or what they've considered. There's probably better stuff.
Totally.
That's
and
cool.
like I'm glad I saw it because I think it's gonna be in that conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be rooting for it at the end of the year here. So
yeah. Belfast will be fasting on awards because it won't get any.
Good job.
Thank you.
You got there.
We got there. Scorcher.
Well, let's get into the actual movie we're going to talk about this week. Of course, season 1 of Snubs and Dubs is covering the films from the year 1996. And for this episode 15, we are talking about the third nominee for Best Picture this season, Secrets and Lies. Have you seen or heard of it before?
Nope. Yeah. This was not anywhere in my peripheral vision even. I did not know this movie existed. But I recognized some of the cast from other things. Yeah. So like, I'm not surprised this exists. It's just kind of like the quintessential British flick.
Yes, that's the thing. I think this existed largely in the UK.
Yeah, I imagine this is a lot of like, if there's like a North American archetype for movies, I feel like especially at the time, this is just like the British flip of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know anything about it going in?
No, I had only known as much as I had learned through, because it had recently come out on a Criterion release. And so I was like, oh, I'd known it had been nominated for Best Picture this year. So I collect the Best Picture nominees. And so I was going to pick it up. And so I kind of like looked into it briefly, but I had not heard of it before then, and I hadn't done any other research on it until we started this podcast. And so, no.
It's a movie.
Definitely is.
And like, I completely see why it's in the conversation.
Yeah.
I guess, should we just
let's get into it.
Dive into this?
If you were interested in Secrets and Lies, I've included the links to the physical media related to it, and that includes the nice Criterion Collection Blu-ray. If you buy through that link, it'll help out the show, or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow that general link, and it'll help out our show in the process. Reminder that this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation, so if you haven't seen Secrets and Lies and you want to, go ahead and do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. After her adoptive mother dies, Hortense, a successful black eye doctor, seeks out her birth mother. She's shocked when her research leads her to a lower-class white woman, Cynthia. At first, Cynthia denies the claim, but she eventually admits to birthing Hortense as a teenager, and the two begin to bond. However, when Cynthia invites Hortense to a family barbecue, Cynthia's already tense relationship with her family becomes even more complicated. Secrets and Lies is written and directed by Mike Leigh. It stars Timothy Spall as Maurice, Brenda Blethyn as Cynthia, Marianne Jean-Baptiste as Hortense, Phyllis Logan as Monica, Claire Rushbrook as Roxanne, and Elizabeth Barrington as Jane. It's a runtime of 142 minutes, and it released in May of 1996 at the Cannes International Film Festival. Jason, what did you think of Secrets and Lies?
This is such a British movie. This is such a British drama.
Yeah.
Oh my. I didn't hate it. I actually really enjoyed a lot of the start, but it overstayed its welcome for me. It's a slower movie. It kind of builds, but then like the payoff wasn't that crazy because it went exactly how I generally expected things to go. So it kind of soured me on the fact that it took so long to get there because I could correctly anticipate exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a mystery of what's going to occur. You know that like this family is all getting to a barbecue. You know the wacky elements at play that are going to cause it to go off. And then it does. Yeah. And then everyone reacts in a sensical way for their characters. So it's just it's a movie. It was really well done. I enjoyed the score to it's good. I enjoyed the cinematography. I really like that. Like the design thing was super cool. Really put me in the zone for that. What did you think?
I actually really liked it too. I really appreciated what they were able to do, especially with the performances. This is a very, like, if you were to define drama, this is that. This
is the quintessential 100% concentrated British drama.
Yeah, because there's like quips, there's crying, there's lots of crying.
There's a lot of crying. Oh my word.
Yeah, and like a lot of it is like, well, Cynthia, she cries a lot, but then sometimes, there's genuine emotion behind that and not just her just crying because she's hysterical. And it is an interesting concept that I guess Mike Leigh wrote because I think maybe he was adopted or he had known a lot of people that were adopted, or maybe it was his brothers and sisters that were adopted. I don't know. He was related to adopted people
there's some relation
way.
To that.
And
the
so
concept.
he had some sort of personal connection with that. And I felt that a lot of this felt very genuine.
It did, yes.
And especially in the performances, and there's reasons to that, which I'll get into the fun facts a little bit later.
I'm excited.
But I really enjoy this. But I do agree. It did feel a little bit long at times.
Yeah. But the performances were really good. I was like, I can't remember the name of the lady who played Cynthia.
Her name is Brenda Blethyn.
Brenda Blethyn, she was a machine.
Yeah.
Was cranking out every emotion you could in that. She did an amazing job, I think.
I'm surprised she had more inner fluid after she cried so much.
After every scene, she's knocking back like a 4 liter or something just to get enough moisture in her body to keep crying. Unbelievable power in that.
Yeah. But should we just get into the plot then? Crank this out?
Yeah, so let's get into the plot of this. Right. We start in a graveyard. A funeral procession is ringing out in a hymn, passing the soul on after death, while a grave for the deceased is being dug. The gospel singing fades into an instrumental score as the word mum is rested on top of the gravesite. This much care and compassion is important to give the deceased, since the last thing you want to do is piss off a dead mummy.
Okay. All right. Good job.
We cut away to a photographer, Maurice, and his wife, Monica, discussing how long it's been since they've seen Maurice's niece, Roxanne, who will be turning 21 this year in August. The dialogue in this scene is supposed to clue you in that this is a British movie, which is important later as it explains why everyone is British the entire time. It's an important detail. If you do miss a subtle plot point, however, you will likely key in on this a few seconds later when Monica suggests Maurice have a barbecue for Roxanne's birthday to reconnect with that side of the family and show them the new house. Setting up what people in the biz call the British climax, which consists of the height of action in the movie being a dinner party. We flip over to our next set of characters, a factory worker and mother, Cynthia, and city sweeper and daughter, Roxanne. They're sitting around the living room miserably while smoking, arguing with each other the whole time, which in Britain is the most fun you can have. We get our first Cynthia classic line in this scene, as she describes Roxanne as having been sitting there for a month with a face like a slapped arse. And then follows us up a moment later by calling Monica a toffee-nosed cow. So when Cynthia gets on the warpath, there's no stopping her.
No, she's got some really good clips of this.
I may not know what any of that means, but I do know a verbal murder when I hear one. And with those lines being dropped, you can assume we're going to have a couple more funerals coming up. Heading back over to Maurice and Monica, we step into a whirlwind argument ignited by Maurice's incendiary act of coming home from work. Maurice follows up this indiscretion by daring to offer Monica a drink, handing her the wrong glass for milk, and rounding out his trio of insults by offering to fix them something for dinner. Monica leaves in tears after Maurice's whirlwind, closing the door behind her so Maurice can think about the hurt and pain he has caused with his callous actions.
Yeah, this was weird because it really makes you not like Monica.
Yeah, I don't know why this is the way it was.
Yeah, because like I think it's trying to allude that she has menstrual problems.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is jumping way ahead, but there's reasons. Well, let's not get into it now.
Yeah.
But like that comes up later. But this didn't really play in that way.
Was it needed? Because like really soon after this scene is another scene where Maurice brings her like one of those hot water pads. You can see that she's having some pain. And there's a scene where I think she's taking a pregnancy test. Maybe. I believe is what's happening.
Sure.
And she's on the toilet and I can't quite tell if it was a pregnancy test or something else. But even without this scene of her just kind of being an absolute monster, like you get the picture without this.
Yeah, I think this was one of those that goes on a little too long because I think you're eventually supposed to sympathize with Monica, and like right now, especially so early, like you really just don't like her because she's such a dick to Maurice, who seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, and they do a better job of making Monica a more complex character through the dialogue with Cynthia and Maurice, where you kind of learn that Monica doesn't really like Cynthia. And is at least part of the reason why they haven't spent more time together.
Yeah.
And that gives you a better reason to kind of be suspicious of Monica throughout the movie than when she just sucks and is really mean to Maurice, who you already like too, because it's not there to make you sympathize with Maurice. He's already a cool dude.
Yeah. And like it was one of the simplest things they did to make you like Maurice was just his interactions through these random camera.
He's just a sweet dude. Yeah, he makes people smile all the time, which also comes back later as he's always making people happy.
Yeah.
But he's good at his job. He enjoys doing it. You like him already.
Yeah, of course.
But anyways, Monica sucks. We transition to Hortense, optometrist and grieving daughter from the recently buried mother, who is attending a meeting with a woman. They converse back and forth, beating around the bush of why Hortense is there. They're both mum on what the meeting is about until the lady talking with Hortense reveals that this meeting is actually about mum. Since Hortense was adopted by her now deceased parents and she's seeking out her birth mother. With Hortense's parental record so far, I'm not entirely sure her birth mother would want to be found. But with her birth records in hand, Hortense is set on meeting her biological mother. The agent discussing all of this with Hortense recommends that her organization handle contacting the mom. But as a cheeky harp cuts in, you know she's about to do this on her own.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She didn't even consider that.
Yeah, no, not
She's
at all.
on the case. Back with Roxanne and Cynthia. Cynthia talks at Roxanne about how she used to pull sausage like she worked at a meat plant back in her day, when their conversation is interrupted by Paul, Roxanne's boyfriend, who invites her over to make up for something. Meanwhile, back at home, Cynthia feels herself up and down in the bathroom. That was the weird scene. That was where it cuts away too. She's like, because Roxanne and Paul start making out or snogging, which is the least sexy way to describe literally anything on the planet. And it just cuts back to Cynthia, who's just feeling herself up for like a second in the bathroom. Then it cuts away.
I think it's because she's trying to make herself feel sexy
wanted,
again. Yeah,
hot,
because like obviously she reminisces about that, and she was clearly a very promiscuous woman back in the day, having 2 children at very young ages.
Yeah. The next day or so, we don't really have a time scale other than getting closer to Roxanne's August birthday. Maurice makes the journey over to see Cynthia. Cynthia is moved by finally seeing her baby brother come visit and shocked to see him at her doorstep. Maurice walks straight to the outhouse for a shit. After a brief catch-up, Maurice invites his sister, niece, and Paul, the latest victim of a Cynthia scorcher, as she describes him as walking like a crab.
This was my favorite one.
That was what you warned me about that. When it came up, I was like, that's a good one.
Yeah.
He invites them all over for a barbecue for Roxanne's birthday. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, it's just the way she describes people is just so funny. Because like, what's her exact line here? She's like, she's got some bloke in tow. Shifty little fella, walks like a crab.
You're like, what does that mean? But also, you're right.
Yeah. Because Paul is kind of like a strange. He feels like he's got this anxious energy about him.
He does.
That's just like he walks strange. I do kind of I see it, but maybe that was because of the line from Cynthia.
What I do love is every scene Paul's in, he's always kind of in an awkward situation. Like the first one, he's trying to make up for something with Roxanne. Yeah, you don't know what went wrong, but clearly he was being a dick about something.
Yeah.
And then you don't really see him again. Oh, no, I guess you see him for 1 second when him and Roxanne are about to do the deed.
Yeah.
To do more than what's the next level above snogging? I don't know. Flogging? Flogging. Technically. And then after that, you only see him when he's like meeting Roxanne's family. So he's always just kind of awkward because he's never like in a comfortable situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Granted, like any group situation with like Cynthia just ends up feeling a bit awkward.
It's weird. She's not a cool cat in social scenarios. Anyways, eat shit, Paul. Checking in on Hortense again, and after having done a quick drive-by of Cynthia's house earlier, she is now giving her a call instead. Cynthia, distressed after Roxanne had given her a good shoving to when talks about birth control went sour, hears about her daughter and immediately goes to throw up in a case of the morning way after sickness.
Yeah, this was probably why that business wanted to do it, because
it did not go well.
No.
This is the worst way to do all of this.
Yeah, straight up, because over the phone, she's like, do you remember, what's her name? Elizabeth
Purley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh God.
Yeah, she went right for it. Let's inflict as much emotional damage as possible. Start off, remind her mother's dead. Yeah. Next, remind her that she gave away a child. Thirdly, that's me. I'm back. Like the worst possible trio for any of this. So of course, like she's really put herself in a bad spot. So Cynthia like hangs up, throws up, and barely picks up the call when Hortense calls back again.
Yeah.
She just do like a quick pillow clench, quickly like get a little Gatorade from the fridge to get some more tears ready because she's gonna need them again.
Well, if you think about the timeline here, she was like just pushed over by her other daughter, and was like laying on her bed just crying, and now she's getting a call from this like long lost daughter.
Worst possible timing, and then worst execution. Yeesh. Hortense calls back and is able to negotiate a meeting between the two of them that Saturday. When the meeting time finally comes around, they nearly miss each other, not knowing what each other look like, until Hortense goes up to the only other woman just kind of standing around and asks if she's Cynthia. Cynthia is surprised this person knows her name, and is even more surprised when this person claims to be her daughter and the voice behind that phone call. You see, this is initially confusing for Cynthia because Hortense is black and Cynthia is white. Cynthia is sure this is all a misunderstanding, like her knowledge of biology apparently, but Hortense is able to walk her into a coffee shop where they make conversation, and Hortense gets her chance to learn one or two things from Cynthia, who mostly cries and doesn't say anything useful. This is a really well acted scene though. Like Cynthia puts you through the ringer. Yeah. You see every emotion on her face when she realizes, oh wait, you can be my daughter, because I do remember having sex with a black man. So this is like a possible thing biologically. Yeah. And then like the whole outpouring. I think she was also denying it to herself because she just didn't want the situation to happen at all in the first place.
Yeah.
And this was just like latching onto any kind of plausible deniability and then having that breakdown and then her just sit there crying for a while.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this was improv because
really,
I'll just cut ahead to one of my facts.
Drop it. Drop it. It's hot.
Because this just holds on the two of them. Like it doesn't cut. It's just the two of them talking
for a while.
Yeah. So there is a moment in the cafe. I'll get to more detail about this later. But to give some of the characters some backstory, Mike Leigh would talk to these actors like months before they shot. And Mike Leigh just casually mentioned that one of the things that happened with Cynthia's character is that, when she was 15, she slept with a black guy. And that was it. And then it's not like included in this scene at all, I gather. And so when she recollects this, it's genuine. Like she's genuinely recollecting why this could be the case in this scene.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and like just acting her way through it. And so that realization when she's remembering and then going through and actually like acting through the rest of the scene as it happens.
That's crazy.
Genuine moment.
That's an insane performance. I didn't know that. I thought this was like the kind of thing where this is a huge scene. So you work on it and work on it and rehearse and practice. And this is like the 30-second take that was just the most well done. But that's crazy. Yeah. This is a really well acted scene then.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Gives you some more respect.
I respect that game entirely. Even more so if the crab line was ad-libbed. If that was if that was improv, then I will be forever in love with this woman.
Yeah.
After their meeting, Cynthia abandons the don't ever call here or see me or even think about me again policy when she calls Hortense to dish about her day and say how lovely it was to meet her. Hortense and Cynthia then become great pals, going out for dinner, hanging out around town, and just having the loveliest time.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that Cynthia invites Hortense over to Maurice's place for Roxanne's birthday barbecue. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And this was kind of like you could tell that she really needed this.
Yep.
And like I had a feeling that they were going to have some sort of resistance, but that Cynthia was going to get to this point where, because you see the resistance with her daughter and her feeling lonely and left out.
Mm-hmm.
And so as soon as this person comes into her life that wants to spend time with her and wants to get to know her and wants to hang out with her, you just know that this is going to just boost her up so much.
Oh, yeah.
That like, and just make her energized and happy again. And I felt that it was an inevitability that she was eventually going to invite her to the barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as soon as Cynthia had someone who actually wanted to be near her, she would latch on, because like when Maurice came over that one time, she latched on to him, held him in a tight hug for a while, didn't want him to leave, always wanting her daughter to be closer, but Roxanne just being too cool for school, never wanted to spend time with her mom. So having someone there, this was, like you said, it's inevitable. She was going to bring her to the titular barbecue as well.
Yep.
Speaking of which, when the big day of the barbecue finally rolls around, we join Cynthia, Paul, and Roxanne as they show up to the beautiful house owned by Maurice and Monica. Maurice shows up just a moment later with his assistant Jane, who is also coming to this absolute smasher of a birthday party. This is the weirdest guest list. It's like,
yeah, right.
First of all, Cynthia brings Hortense on the pretense that she worked at the factory with her. So Roxanne didn't even know she was coming. Didn't know who her mom was spending time with. Didn't care because she's just an apathetic teen. And then Maurice thinks it's her friend from the factory. So even if it was, that's still weird. You like, it's your birthday party. You're turning 21. It's a big one.
Yeah.
You bring your boyfriend. Your aunt and uncle are there. That one makes sense. Your mom's there. I also get it.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't go any deeper than your dad's assistant and your mom's kind of friend from work. Roxanne, you've done some things wrong. You need to reassess your social life and where you sit in it.
Yeah. And like Maurice, this is a kind of a weird thing because like the assumption is that Maurice is probably like he has something going on with his assistant. Like that's how you would think.
That's exactly what I assumed.
But then no, like it's like nothing like that.
I know. I was really surprised there wasn't more about that.
Me too.
Because I guess it didn't happen, but they kind of built it up like it was.
A little bit. But then Monica wasn't like jealous of Jane or anything. Like I don't think that was ever. It
was kind of just like a red herring.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe
like I think that's on us. Like that was us putting that sort of relationship onto them because you see that. Like you see a young, receptionist be close with, her boss. And you're like, okay, maybe Maurice isn't the best guy after all.
Especially because nothing's really tarnished his reputation at this point, and everyone else has some kind of dirt on him. So that's why I assume like he would have that one imperfection was he was cheating.
Yeah.
Even if just like not even if it was physically cheating, like emotionally cheating on Monica because the relationship had been rocky. I also thought maybe that's where that buildup with Monica yelling at him after hoovering was from. But
maybe. Yeah. Because it is secrets and lies.
Yeah.
And at this point, the only person without a secret or a lie would be Maurice.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's kind of covering for Monica's lie. Like that one kind of encompasses the both of them, I guess.
But yeah, he's kind of the only clean guy out of this in a way.
Yeah. The moral backbone of this story. Well, with party status officially reached, we move it to the back patio where Maurice grills up meat and brings it to the table while Monica moves some dishes around and Cynthia grabs salads for people. Oh, it's a rager. To cover for Hortense, Cynthia lies about working at the factory with her. But is a terrible liar and reveals she went to college for optometry.
Yeah.
A fatal flaw.
And then they have to like kind of work their way through this.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
she
bad.
checks her eyes at work.
She's doing some testing in a factory. No, you're not.
No.
Oh, yeah, that was, if you ever let that one slip, you've lost. Just start dropping bombs then and there because now you have the element of surprise and that's it.
Yeah, and like it was obvious that the lies were going to come out at this barbecue because like, I mean, this is the climax, but like,
we're at 2 hours right now and there's only 20 minutes left. We kind of need it now.
But it was interesting that like it didn't happen then when they started poking the holes and asking these questions, because you think, okay, it's starting to tumble a little bit. Like their story is not holding up. It's going to happen now, but then no.
But then they pull up last second. The landing gear is broken and battered, but they're still able to just get the ailerons up. I don't think that's correct. Well, once the main course is done, we move the party back inside to avoid the rain and bring out the birthday cake. With the candles blown out and the slices handed around, Maurice hands Roxanne a card stuffed with cash for her birthday, causing Cynthia to go, "Oh, you want to see things blow out? Well, Hortense is your sister." Doesn't happen quite like that, but it pretty much happens like that. Obviously, everything erupts and everyone's mad. And Paul is just super awkward in the background of all these shots the whole time. And
same with Jane. I feel so bad for both of those two. Like,
she's just in the background. She just stays in her dinner table seat, eating her slice of cake the entire time. The world is exploding around her as this family breaks up, gets back together, and goes through their journey of growth and learning. She's just eating cake. Jane
is one of those people where it's like, sometimes you say, "Oh, I wish I was a fly on the wall for that conversation." Yeah. She's like the fly, like in the fucking room. Like she's just, she's not even on the wall. She's just like throwing in this shit. And I felt so bad for her.
I also feel like it was probably the thing beforehand where she's like, well, should I go to my boss's thing? Like, maybe I don't want to, but I got nothing better going on. I might as well go.
Yeah.
And it ends up being one of the worst experiences of your life because it's just so awkward. Anyways, Roxanne storms out of the worst 21st birthday ever, and Maurice has to go catch up to her, sitting at the bus station with Paul. Maurice is able to convince Roxanne to come back to the party and get some truth out of her mom. Cynthia decides it's finally time to tell Roxanne about her sister, then follows that up with the name of Roxanne's father, which has also been hidden from her for her whole life. Cynthia, not done with only destroying one person at this party, then shifts her target to Monica and calls her selfish and a gold digger for not bearing any kids for Maurice. She lays in.
This was hurtful. Like that was rude.
She came for blood.
Yeah.
She wanted to see pain.
Yeah.
And she got it. This brings the big man himself into the middle of it all as he's sick of the three people he loves most hating each other, sick of trying to make everyone else happy, and most of all, he's sick of the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, secrets and lies. This triggers a beautiful group healing session that erases all conflict and brings happiness to every corner of the family. Except for Hortense, and Cynthia still won't tell her anything about her father. Oh well. Even Jane, who's apparently still sitting there, is moved and wishes she had a father like Maurice. She's largely ignored. Honestly, this was disappointing since I was really hoping there was going to be an affair kind of thing between these two.
Did you actually write that down?
I wrote that in here, yeah, because I really thought that was going to be
there was something too.
Especially because there's a moment where like she starts to speak and it's just like her and Maurice in frame, and she's like, "Wow, you're like a father to me." He got dad zoned.
Yeah.
Jane wanted another. I mean, she wanted a father figure like him, but more important people are talking. Shut up, Jane. With this mass cathartic release, we cut back to Cynthia's house where Roxanne and Hortense are hanging out, becoming friends. Cynthia brings them some crumpets and tea in it, and they all live happily ever after.
Nice.
And that's the plot.
That is the plot. I didn't expect this to be a movie that says the title of the movie in the movie.
No, it was really cheesy. I didn't hate it. Like somehow it wasn't a bad way to do it, but I didn't expect that either.
Because he's literally like, secrets and lies.
All was missing was him like looking and like winking at the camera because it's just like his monologue at that moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of skipped over it a little bit. I think I skipped a couple lines that I wrote actually, but after Cynthia lays into Monica, it turns out Monica just can't bear having kids. She can't bear children for Maurice, and that it almost destroyed their marriage. And Maurice had mentioned that they were on the ropes at a couple times.
Yeah.
But then they also have a scene where they're lying in bed snuggling, and then they give each other a little kiss because they love each other so much. You know they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the two sisters are hanging out. You know they're going to be okay. Jane, who cares? She's gone. She finally left.
Jane will be okay.
She got out of that house. She's fine now.
Yeah.
It is interesting to me. Hortense never learns her father's name.
No.
And hear me out. Did you, because I got the feeling from this that when Cynthia was pregnant with Hortense, it might have been a child of rape. And that's why she doesn't have the father's name to give her.
Maybe.
And that's why she didn't want to look at the kid. Because I think it's different, even though I'm assuming Roxanne was also an accident. It might have been a much more happy accident than Hortense was. And that's why she doesn't really get into the details of Hortense's birth and why like those two kids played out differently. Like Roxanne was kept, Hortense was given up. That was my feeling on it, but I don't think it's really confirmed or denied at any point.
I don't think it is, but that kind of makes sense. That's your headcanon for secrets and lies.
That's a little flavor I've added in that I think is correct, but apparently there's a lot of really deft character weaving that's gone on to this. So there's probably a lot of backstory that is only given to the characters to know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like inferred throughout the movie if you kind of read it that way, but the viewer will never know for sure.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I really liked this movie, is because they did feel like fully fleshed out characters with these relationships.
Yeah.
That, you feel for Cynthia when Maurice finally comes over after however long, and, she doesn't want to call him because she doesn't want to pull up her phone or like get her phone bill racked up. And like, obviously she's not well off, and Maurice is. And so she's jealous for that too. And then you see that at the birthday party when Maurice hands, a big wad of cash to Roxanne, and you can see it on Cynthia's face that like she feels hurt that she can't give her that. And I think that also is what sets her off over the edge to eventually say that, Hortense is her daughter.
Yeah, the characters were so really well done. And there's a lot of scenes that aren't in the write-up because they're not really pivotal to the plot, but still really good character building. Like when Maurice has the old person who used to own his business come by.
Yeah.
And they're kind of uncomfortable because clearly this guy is not very well.
No.
And he just lends them a camera to kind of get him out of there, but also to kind of be kind because clearly the guy who used to own the business is on very hard times.
Yeah.
And not very well. So Maurice could have just kicked him out, but he sent him away with something, both to get rid of him. But also I think there was like an act of kindness in there because he can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like Maurice even says like when he comes in, he's judging the place, right? He's like, I don't really like what you've done with the place. You haven't even bought like a nicer camera. And Maurice is like, well, I can buy the nicer camera. I just haven't done it, or I don't want to.
Maybe doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. And like that was an interesting scene, but it also I think is valid that you didn't really include it because it doesn't add that much other than to flesh out the characters a little bit.
Yeah. I guess you meet Jane in that, but again, who cares about Jane?
Yeah, I guess you kind of do need that. Otherwise, Maurice is bringing his random assistant that we've never
that would be a
met.
weird one to introduce someone on.
Yeah.
But I think you only get like really that one scene with her beforehand. So
yeah.
I did not think photography would pay that well, but it pays the bills.
Well, yeah, he seemed pretty busy actually.
Yeah, he was. There's a lot of cool montages of scenes with different things he's taking pictures of, which is funny. But he pulls in cash, unbelievably so.
Does. Good for him.
6-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and like, I remember one of the thoughts I was having earlier because like Cynthia seems to take it personally that Maurice didn't have kids.
Right.
And like, because obviously she wants nieces and nephews, she wants, other babies around that she can, I don't know, hang out with. More people to like get her to like her or something. So like when she thinks it's Monica that's like not allowing this to happen.
Yeah.
And in a way it is, but not in the way that I think she thinks. And so that's why it's so hurtful when she basically accuses Monica of not giving her brother any kids, and they have to reveal. But then also sweet when, she goes over to Monica afterwards and they all have a big hug, cry out because it's like, oh, like I didn't realize. I'm sorry, obviously.
Exactly, because they're only hurt by their secrets and lies, and they're only hurting each other.
Yeah. Well,
unbelievable.
It makes sense why Maurice is kind of the most pure, because he does have the kind of a line earlier where he mentions that his father never really shared the pain that he had when his mother died. And he hated his dad for not sharing, for not being able to talk to him about like their pain, about what's happened. And so now like he wants to be able to share and not hide that pain or live with it.
Yeah, no, because you mentioned that. And I think what's interesting about Maurice's character and the reason why we expected there to be something shady about him is they don't really do this just morally correct guide kind of character as much in current movies. Normally, everyone has some kind of like good and bad pro con thing. But Maurice is really there to be the foil for everyone and just kind of show like he's the, there's a certain term for it that I can't remember right now. But he's like, he sets the tone of like the moral lesson. Like he is the correct moral character in this that kind of works with the other people.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have anything that he's doing wrong. And that works in the movie because he's the one who like resolves the problems with everyone else in a healthy way. So it works for that.
Yeah.
And he's just a good guy. He's just a good dude.
He's a good guy. I would like him as a father figure. Just like Jane.
Jane, we all want him as a father figure.
Get
Stop
in
being
line.
greedy. Yeah. Take a number, please.
Yeah. I really liked the acting in this. I think
it's
really good. Obviously, there's a lot of crying from Cynthia, and that is kind of like her thing.
Yeah.
And so like eventually it doesn't feel as impactful, but it is a really good performance, especially if a lot of this was improv.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It really was. Yeah.
Just for the viewer's reference, in case you saw A Time to Kill but didn't see this, think for every ounce of sweat in A Time to Kill was a liter of tears in this movie. Both are very bodily fluid heavy.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to comment on for this movie, Secrets and Lies?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was trying to realize where I'd seen Timothy Spall before.
Yep.
And he was Peter Pettigrew in Harry Potter.
Was he?
He was the rat character.
Oh, I don't remember that. I've seen all those movies. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
I was trying to place his face because obviously he looks, nice and huggable in this one.
So huggable.
And then in Harry Potter, he was like a little rat.
Yeah.
So, yep. But that's where.
There's actually one more thing I want to mention that I really enjoyed about this movie, one particular scene. It's when Hortense is talking to, I believe, her sister, but I don't know if it's confirmed. They're talking. It's like after Hortense's mother died.
Right.
This was what I thought was the funniest line in the movie when they're talking about how her potential sister, don't know, was sleeping with a random stranger. And Hortense asked if she used a condom. And she's like, yeah. Did you use two? She's like, yeah. It's like on top of each other? No, one after each other. I was like, oh, I get it. But immediately after that, there's a scene where they're just kind of talking on the couch and Hortense is laid on the couch and her sister has like a pillow on her and is sitting in front. I really enjoyed how that scene was shot. It was just like a cool shot. The conversation was good. It really demonstrates how like good and comfortable they feel with each other and that nice relationship that they have because they're confined in one shot, kind of resting on each other.
Yeah.
And it kind of contrasts to all the other characters who, like Cynthia and Roxanne, aren't really in a shot together. It switches back and forth until they're like fighting. And there's always a little bit of distance between Monica and Maurice. So I thought that was a really cool, soft thing to put in there. Like, I really liked that scene.
Yeah, it's shot very naturally.
Yeah.
It feels that way too. And like, obviously, you've mentioned the shots, how they're motivating the characters with their distances and whatnot. And going back to that shot in the cafe with them just sitting next to each other. I mean, just them sitting next to each other makes a huge difference in the scene because you're not staring across from each other and going back and forth between their reactions. You're watching them both react to this information or to their realizations at the same time. And like, obviously Hortense is she doesn't react that much, but like, you see Cynthia and she's going through fucking everything.
She's going through it all.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, their contrast in that scene, just watching them next to each other. And like, you wouldn't have got that if it was like going back and forth and if they had been shot across from each other at the cafe, which easily they could have done. But
but no, it works so much better that way.
Do you want to get into the reviews and such?
I'd love to. Let's do it.
So what do you think this kind of landed in terms of audience and critic reviews?
I feel like, well, first of all, it's a Best Picture nominee, so it's going to make a splash. I feel like this is going to be a pretty highly received one. I'm going to say critics 87, audience 89.
Yeah, even higher.
Oh, dang.
Critics gave it a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and audiences gave it a 91.
Dang. Well deserved, I'd say.
IMDb was an 8. So that's actually the lowest of it because Metacritic gives it a 91.
That's insane.
Insane for that.
Yeah, they loved it.
Yeah, Metacritic had the lowest amount of reviews. I think it wasn't even over like 25. And so
that's
like,
weird.
yeah, but very highly reviewed movie.
Everyone who watched it dug it. I don't blame them.
It also, on a budget of $4.5 million, made $13.4 million.
Huh.
So not a lot, but
No.
I also don't think this had that much of a North American release.
It couldn't have.
Because I was kind of trying to do a little bit of digging, and I think there was even one stat that I looked at that it was like either 0 or none, but I actually don't know if this came out in North America.
That's
as
weird.
Like a theatrical release.
I wonder why you wouldn't, because this would make money in North America.
I think it has to in order to be qualified for Best Picture in some way.
But they might have just done like the one and done just to get that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's weird.
That's more research. But anyways, it landed it at 111th for this year's box office.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. It's about the quality, not the amount of money you made.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
How would you rank this though? Let's start with enjoyment.
This one, I think enjoyment's gonna be my lowest category for this because it did drag a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
That's solid. Yeah, I think for me it's a high 3.5.
Yeah.
I think I was leaning towards 4 because I did really enjoy it.
Mhm.
And this was one of those movies where if I had to be on my phone for a second, I paused it. So
Mhm.
that says a lot for me, you know. But I think 3.5 is pretty fair.
Yeah. There was one point when Hortense was looking through some records for information about Cynthia that I do look on my phone and then look back up, go, oh, damn. And then I had to rewind it because I missed something.
Yeah.
And then I stopped going on my phone after that.
Mm-hmm. Craft.
This one's really good.
Yeah.
But like, it's a movie. Like they were set up to have this succeed. They had everything they needed to make it work really well. And they didn't go like insanely crazy, but I still think they did a phenomenal job. So I think this one a 4.
I'm also going to give it a 4 because I think everything works and fits for the movie. I think there were some really good choices with the camera. You mentioned the score. Score was nice too. And so I think, 4 is pretty fair for Craft.
Yeah, I like that.
Execution. So acting and writing.
This I am going to give a 5
Wow.
because everything worked so well. The characters were amazingly fleshed out and acted. I really felt like these people who I've seen in other roles, even though I've known them for something else, this has now become like the main version of them.
Yeah.
This was so well acted, and I thought the relationships were great. I thought this was well crafted. Like I really enjoyed what they put together and how it rolled out on screen.
I think I'm gonna go 4.5, mostly on the back of the actors. I think they elevated what was there mostly on their improvisation, which from what I gather was a lot. This got some screenplay acclaim, despite being a lot of improvisation. But I think
that's weird. I didn't know that. I assumed this was all like, or at least overwhelmingly written out beforehand.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, but they were given a lot of freedom to just kind of like feel out the scene with their character.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that 5 then. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm keeping 4.5. Rewatchability.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm good. I really enjoyed my time with it. No, I might see this again. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it. I will watch it if it's out there. This is probably a 2 for me.
Sure. I think I'm going to go 2.5 kind of for the same reasons. I liked it, but it's probably not an easy one to watch like repeatedly.
Yeah.
Especially once you kind of know everything, but maybe it's worth a rewatch to just kind of see, where all the secrets and lies play into the earlier parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this one, the rewatch score is hurt by how good it was because I feel like I got the complete package out of it. And I kind of want to just box that up and keep it where it's at.
Yeah. Where does that leave us?
All right. So I gave this a 14.5 out of 20 for a 73.
Nice.
Seems a little lower than I thought, but I don't hate it. That's where it all added up. So I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
You went a little higher with 14.5. Oh, no. We both did 14.5 for a 73.
Yeah.
I think we just traded off a couple 0.5s and that was it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's mostly fair. I think its rewatchability kind of brings it down that notch.
Yeah.
If it was a more rewatchable movie, I think it would be like elevated to kind of the heights that some of the other high rated movies we talked about this season are. But I think just the fact that it's a difficult one to bring yourself to rewatch.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you can get it down to 90 minutes, then we're talking again. I think a large thing of not wanting to watch again is it's a long movie as well.
It is, yeah. And I do think there is probably a really good 90-minute movie in this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us, I believe, to the ranking time overall.
Does.
Kyle, you are currently sitting at Fargo, Scream, Swingers, Jerry Maguire, Independence Day, Bottle Rocket, Train Spotting, Twister, Primal Fear, The People vs. Larry Flint, A Time to Kill, Lone Star, Happy Gilmore, Marvin's Room. Where does this slide in?
I think it's going under Independence Day, above Bottle Rocket.
I like that.
That's
quite
number
a bit.
6, I think.
That would become your new number 6.
Okay, yeah.
And Bottle Rocket would then slide down to a 7 spot.
Cool.
I really like where you put yours there. I'm kind of thinking about doing the same. I'm just going to put that at number 6. So for me, this goes below Independence Day and just above Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Which would then bring my list to be Fargo, Scream, Swingers, Lone Star, Independence Day, Secrets and Lies, Jerry Maguire, Bottle Rocket, Trainspotting, Primal Fear, Twister, A Time to Kill, Happy Gilmore, The People vs. Larry Flint, My Own Birth Video, Marvin's Room.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm okay with it not really breaking the top 5. I think those 5 are all a little bit stronger than this one in their own ways.
Yeah.
But it's still a good movie. And I think this is a movie that people should probably watch at least once if you have the chance.
I think so too. It's like the performances are so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a British drama. So you need to be ready for British drama. And afterwards, you're going to love it.
For sure. Do you want to hear some funny Letterboxd reviews, though?
I would love to hear what the people have done in good old Letterboxd for this one.
Okay, well, let me first say, fucking my God, you guys.
What?
People wrote essays in Letterboxd for this movie.
Something about British movies, they bring it out of people. I don't know why.
It was like I was going through the top liked reviews on Letterboxd, and anytime I see one where it says read more, I just scroll by because that's too much. It's too much to read off right now.
We're not reading more. I'm
No.
sorry. We're never going to read more.
And like, it was like, the first couple, they were long. I was like, okay, that's, whatever. People put effort into it, good for you. And then I kept going and I kept going. And it was just long review after long review after long. I don't know what it was about this particular movie that people had so much to say about it, but people did. And I just tried to find the nicest short ones. So Sean O'Conn's says, he gives it 5 stars. He says, I think this is the perfect film made more perfect because Cynthia and Hortense go to see Sylvester Stallone and Rob Schneider's Judge Dredd.
Oh, yeah. That is actually a pretty good poll to go for.
This is 4 stars by Haley. Mike Leigh could write a 4-hour film about cows eating grass in a field, and I'd still be like, 10 stars. Haley, you gave it 4 stars.
She gave it 4 stars. What? Oh my God. I would give it 10 stars if it was out of 12.
Yeah.
Haley, come on. Focus up here.
Okay, this was the lowest one. 2 stars on a rewatch by Marco. It's pretty good until anyone speaks.
What? That's, first of all, that's all of the movie.
Yeah.
Also, those are the best parts of the movie.
So I love sometimes the layers of Letterboxd because they'll tell you if it's a rewatch.
Yeah.
So this guy gave it 2 stars on a rewatch and doesn't like when people speak. What? Buddy, you've watched this movie before. Why compelled you to rewatch this?
Why would you ever rewatch a movie that's going to be a 2 stars in the end and then also just be mean to the best parts of it?
Yeah, really.
Is your time worth anything to yourself?
Well, let's get into the Academy Awards details. So, obviously, this was nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was nominated for any other awards?
This has to be nominated for lead actress, and I want to say some supporting nods as well. Maybe score.
It was nominated for 5 awards.
Yeah,
it was nominated for Best Picture, of course. Best Actress in a Leading Role for Brenda Blethyn for Cynthia. Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Marianne Jean-Baptiste. That was Hortense. Best Director for Mike Leigh. And Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen, Mike Leigh.
That makes sense.
It, however, was the only Best Picture Oscar nominee this year to not win a single Academy Award.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I honestly would not have minded if it won Best Actress. Even taking it from
McDormand?
Even taking it from McDormand,
Wow.
I would not have been upset having watched them both now.
She does. Yeah, see, it gives us the full perspective.
Yeah.
Look at us.
And now we're really coming back around. This should have got some supporting looks too. I don't hate that Hortense's actress. I can't remember her name right now.
Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah. I don't hate that Marianne didn't win. I'm glad she's nominated.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like they should have got lead actress though.
Yeah, Cynthia does a lot.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more than what Frances McDormand's character does in Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, Frances McDormand is doing the accent and all of that, and she's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, she's really good. But this is one of those performances that this is a Best Actress type of performance.
Yeah. To have improvised that scene in the little tea shop, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It also won a couple other awards, though. At the Cannes International Film Festival, where it premiered, It won Best Actress for Brenda Blethyn, who plays
Good.
Cynthia. It won the prize of Ecumen. What the fuck? Ecumenical. Fuck, I don't know. Ecumenical. Ecumenical.
I don't know.
Fuck. It won a prize for Mike Leigh.
It won the Mike Leigh prize for being Mike Leigh in Best Supporting Director.
And it also won the Palme d'Or, which is basically the best film of the Cannes International Film Festival. So good for it.
Surprised it didn't win every BAFTA of that year.
I was just getting to BAFTA.
Okay, there we go.
Because that was like, this is obviously a British film. It was nominated for 7 BAFTAs and won 3. It won the Alexander Korda Award for Best British Film, the Best Original Screenplay Award, and Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role for Brenda Blethyn. It was nominated for Best Film. It was nominated for Supporting Actress for Marianne Jean-Baptiste. It was also nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role for Timothy Spall. And it was nominated for the David Lean Award for Direction for Mike Leigh. So a directing award.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Any of that surprise you?
No, I'm surprised it didn't win any Oscars.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's hard to win an Oscar. I'm not going to put that on the movie. It probably should have won leading female.
We'll get to
whatever.
That
That's for later.
Okay, well, let me get into this paragraph of an interesting fact. So this kind of speaks to the improvisation. To add to the spontaneous effect of the performances, Mike Leigh met with each actor individually and told them what their character would know at the beginning of the film. As filming progressed, the actors were hearing the secrets for the first time. Brenda Blethyn, for instance, didn't know that Marianne Jean-Baptiste was black.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Because that actually like also gives weight to the scene.
Yeah.
She was probably legitimately surprised that was the actress coming up to her claiming to be her daughter.
That's so funny you say that, because there is actually a common misconception out there that was cleared up when I listened to the interview that was on my Criterion Collection Blu-ray. The scene where they meet for the first time, a lot of people say was improvised and that they didn't know who they were when they were shooting. This is to an extent true, because the first time they rehearsed the scene, they did not know who each other was.
Oh.
And so Brenda Blethyn actually assumed that the woman with the facial scarring that was in that right before that scene with the guy at the photography place, that she was going to be her daughter because they had met before filming began. The scene that they shot, though, was rehearsed. Okay. So there was some kind of precedent of like maybe they knew how they reacted the first time and they were able to capture that. However, this is kind of, I mentioned this before. I'll read what I wrote, though. There was a moment in the cafe when Brenda had a real realization Mike Leigh had told her ages before shooting when describing some background of Cynthia that one night she got drunk and had sex with a black man. Brenda actually forgot about this, but remembered during the scene, her recollection there was genuine.
Interesting.
So, yeah. I got one more fact because that was a very hefty one. Even though the film's screenplay was nominated for an Academy Award and won a BAFTA, most of the script was improvised during filming. Writer-director Mike Leigh told each of the actors what his or her part was in the story, and they each developed their own characters.
That's really cool. Because it comes across so well, too. Like, they all work really well.
Yeah, so I think he probably had the secrets and lies set up and like maybe bits of their character, but they were given free reign to kind of do a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah.
That's how you keep a budget down.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to artfully not write this movie and we're going to select 7 people to act it out for us.
Yeah. I mean, it is impressive how well this has turned out with how much free reign they were given, because it could have gone like in any ways. But yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Awesome.
Good on them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Any final thoughts on Secrets and Lies?
No, I think I got everything that I needed to say about Secrets and Lies out. Well done movie.
Yeah, really well done movie. Yeah.
How about you?
No, I think that's it. Everything else I might keep a secret.
Oh, well, I'm just going to lie then and say you don't look great today, Kyle.
Shit. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for listening to Season 1, Episode 15 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Letterboxd, etc. We're also on Good Pod, so make sure to check us out there and join our official Discord. We would love to hear your guys' thoughts on Secrets and Lies or on this episode, so please send us a message or a tweet with a question, recommendation, or anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobiasson on Twitter, and Jason is at Wendy_Mills. Of course, all those links are going to be in our show notes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review and share the show, then check back next week for another episode. Here's a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
She hasn't got the strength.
She's stronger than you and me.
You don't understand, do you?
Do you realize that I will have to go back soon?
You've got to go on living when he isn't here. I mean, he's not dead. You're not dead.
That's right. Next episode, we're talking about Breaking the Waves. I think this is our last largely obscure movie of season 1.
Oh, yeah. We get some name recognition after that.
Everything after episode 16 is a pretty popular film. So get ready. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.